This is a video on how to work two-color brioche setup rows when you have started with a solid color cast-on. This particular cast-on I did was a long tail cast-on purlwise. You can look in my videos and there'll be a little tag up in the right corner there on how to do a purl long tail cast-on. This gives you the smooth side on the first row, which is what I want. So when you're working two-color brioche stitch, you want to have an odd number of stitches for starting. We have 11 here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, because the first and last stitch are going to be your main color. In this case, the main color is the light color. So the way you start the setup row is with your main color, in this case the light color. You're going to knit the first stitch, and then you're going to bring the yarn to the front and slip the second stitch, making a yarn over across the top of that stitch. You knit the next stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip while making the yarn over at the same time, knit, slip. So you're just taking the yarn, you brought the yarn forward, you take the yarn across the top of the needle while you're slipping the stitch. Knit, bring the yarn forward, take it across the top of the slipped stitch, knit the next stitch, slip, and then your very last stitch should be a knit. So each row in two-color brioche is 2 passes on a double-pointed needle or a circular needle. That was the first pass. The second pass will be with the second color, which in this case is going to be blue. For the second pass, you start with your second color on the front of the work. You slip the first stitch, point to point. Then this next stitch is going to have the yarn over. It's a stitch with the yarn over. You're going to purl those 2 loops together as if they're one stitch with your contrasting color. Keeping the contrasting color on the front, you slip the next stitch and put this yarn over the top of it. Bring the yarn back to the front, purl. Notice when the slit stitches are slipped for brioche, they're slipped from point to point. You're not twisting the stitches. You're not slipping them like this. That's incorrect. The correct method is this way. You slip and make the yarn over the top. Bring it to the front, purl these 2 together. Bring it to the front, slip, purl, until you come to the last stitch, which will be slipped. Knit these 2 together, keeping the yarn on the front. We slip this stitch. So now the blue yarn is hanging from this side. Now we turn the needle. The setup rows are technically done, but we're going to go ahead and work the next 2 rows so you can see what happens for the second set. So we did 2 passes for the first row. Now we turn the needle. We're ready to start the second row. We start with the white yarn and notice that it's hanging to the front from a purl stitch. So that means this is going to be a purl row for the white yarn. That's a clue. So if you lay your work down, you forgot where you left off, you know if the white yarn's coming out of a purl that you're ready to do a purl row with the white yarn. So you purl the first stitch, you slip the blue while making the yarn over, bring the yarn back to the front, purl these together, keeping the yarn on the front, you slip the blue, bring the yarn back to the front, purl, slip the blue all the way, bring the yarn all the way around, purl, slip the blue, and you continue doing this till you get to the very last stitch, which you're going to purl. We're going to purl that last stitch. Now we slide the stitches back to the other end of this needle so that we can do the second pass of the second row. Now in this case, the blue is hanging off the back. It's not coming to the front, it's at the back. So we know that the blue is going to be the knit stitches because when you knit, the yarn is in the back. So the first stitch we're going to slip Notice the blue is not wrapping around the end here. There will be no blue on that end, so you'll get a solid selvage with the white. You're going to purl. We're on the blue. We're knitting. See, it is easy to get confused. Then you're slipping the white with the blue going over it. Knitting. Now notice that when we slip and make the yarn over, we're always having the slip stitch of one color and the yarn over of the other. That's how it is. That's the way you can keep track. I have multiple videos on brioche stitch. The set will pop up. So now we made our last knit stitch, and the blue yarn is going to stay in the back, and we're going to slip this stitch. Now we've made the first 2 rows or 4 passes for the brioche. We're all set to continue on. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up down there and share them with your friends. Thanks for watching and happy knitting.